He broke up with me. Huge fights. Slamming doors. Someone comes behind me and she grabs my eyes. And you know the red flag here was that he had an Android. Crazy.
Hey, it's Faye. I want to be really upfront. I want to thank Evie for sponsoring today's video. I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm finally at ease and I think it's important to share, so let's jump into it. Evie reached out to partner on healthcare for the vaginal microbiome. And honestly, I was like, let's go, let's do it. I know that's a lot to take in and it could feel a little taboo. But as a woman with a platform, I do think it's responsible talking about these things. I feel like what's really driving me now is being an advocate for things I feel like need more visibility. And sometimes that can be hard because you fear the opinion of other people, but this is so helpful. And as a woman, it's very necessary. As a teenager into adulthood, these things weren't talked about. So let me just be that person. Let me be that big sister for someone who's like me. TMI, okay? But I haven't gone to the gynecologist in a hot minute. And that's why I'm a little nervous about my results. But thank goodness for Evie, I can at least do at-home vaginal microbiome testing so I can feel more comfortable and get answers about my vaginal health. So Evie helps women better understand their vaginal health and connects them to clinician-reviewed prescription care based on their results through at-home testing. The test itself is a single at-home swab that screens for 700 plus bacteria and fungi, including microbes associated with vaginal discomfort. For example, odor, discharge, and irritation, which, transparently, this is so common within women. It's very normal, okay? Well, let's see what the test says. It also tests for recurrent BV and yeast-like symptoms, UTIs and urinary discomfort, fertility-related microbiome patterns, microbiome shifts during perimenopause and menopause itself. I feel like the most common thing we experience altogether is vaginal discomfort, which is often caused by microbiome imbalances. We need to see what's actually present in our microbiomes and just cut this guesswork. I really like that Evie analyzes the entire vaginal ecosystem, including disruptive and protective bacteria. Because I didn't know that traditional office tests usually often look for only a handful of microbes. If eligible, an Evie-affiliated licensed clinician reviews your microbiome results, your symptoms, and health history to design a custom prescription treatment program that's tailored to the specific bacteria or yeast identified, the relative abundance, patterns associated with recurrence. Whatever it is, it's designed to be precise so there's no unnecessary or mismatched antibiotics, and focusing on longer-term microbiome balance, not short-term symptom suppression. I appreciate this so much because usually I feel like we all fall into this like one-size-fits-all kinds of treatments. No, because I want personalized insight, not just another generic answer, It's so cool because they actually provide optional add-ons. So for example, a user can add STI testing onto their vaginal health test if you want. And I feel like a lot of us women, or if I speak for myself only, I tend to put off these checkups because of fear or my anxiety, feeling nervous or discomfort, or simply sometimes I just don't have time. So having Evie accessible is such a great help, and I encourage you to let this be your first step. I was able to finagle a 10% off discount code up to $25. Yes. So if you want, check out Evie through the link down in my description box and use code heyitsfei10 on your first purchase. Again, the resource is down below, and I want you to know that it is so okay to talk about these things. Thanks for listening. On to the video.
Hi. So this was supposed to be after hours, but here we are. I just want to talk about things that may come off a little controversial, but I want to get off my chest. So I'm going to talk about things that literally nobody asked for. You could not waterboard these things out of me years ago. This is the most freeing part about this channel now. I just feel like I'm just gonna be unfiltered. This is a hot take. But I think some of the most draining relationships are the ones with women. Don't get me wrong. Womanhood is the most incomparable, unique, unconditionally loving feeling ever when you find your people, your best friends, when you mend and heal relationships with the women in your family. But no one talks about girlhood trauma, and often it's inflicted by the girls you grew up with. It really feels like a jab to the women lifting women movement. You wonder when Faye's fake whenever I'm around these people. Honestly, just oh my god, at least I'm being honest. You know how like sometimes we're labeled too moody right before our period or on our period? Even just that, it literally flares something up in me. Let's not sit here and act as if I don't know why. I know why. Okay, here's some tea. One time my ex-boyfriend diagnosed me with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. All because it's usually the day before my period that I get very sensitive. Like, I'm emotional, I'm moody, I cry, I'm sad, I'm pissy. And then my period comes and I'm like, oh, makes sense. And you know what? I'll admit, sometimes I pick a fight because I don't feel desired or whatever. The day before my period. That's just my hormonal pattern. He, I'm sure unintentionally, made me believe that I was so extremely disordered, as if it wasn't just PMS. You have PMDD. That's extreme. I felt so guilty of just having like a slight mood shift that I would try so hard to control. I was made out to feel like the most insane, unstable person. And honestly, guys, don't do that to your woman, okay? Please don't. We feel guilty for it. We feel like we have to apologize. And honestly, that grows emotional distance and crumbles emotional safety. So don't be stupid. Hot take, but sometimes we maintain friendships out of history, not actually love. And letting that friendship die feels so extremely criminal. There's no fight, there's no reason. People just don't fit anymore, you know? Speaking of, I'm telling you, I feel messy. In college, I had this experience. That experience made me realize we're so agreeable with one another. However, we are not equipped to survive a single honest conflict. We'd rather drift apart and let that die, that friendship slowly fade out or ghost, than having one honest conversation with each other. I really feel like we over romanticize he loves me at my worst, which, take this as a grain of salt, I think sometimes we use it as an excuse a little bit too much. Because what if the person who only sees you at your worst is because you never learned to regulate your emotions or take accountability for your behaviors and your actions, and now they're held hostage and they've normalized this ecosystem they live in. I don't know, I'm just saying. And low-key, like, I'm a little bit guilty. I could have been better in my past relationships. There were some toxic entrapment that I'm sure my ex-boyfriends experienced because I had my own abandonment issues I had to heal. It sucks having to admit that, but at the same time, like, everyone carries their own baggage, okay? Everyone carries their own bag of shit. At least I can admit what mine is. I don't know if my exes can do the same. For example, okay, I've never shared this before. Girl, whatever. There was this guy I dated during like the quarantine time when I was still living in my apartment. He was the most stone-walled person, just doesn't talk about emotions, very uncomfy with that kind of stuff. Like, we never got to like a deep level of getting to know each other. Him and I would get into these huge fights where we're just screaming and yelling in an apartment. My poor sister, you know, she was living with me, so she would just hear these these yelling matches. One time it got so toxic to the point where there was like slamming doors, yelling, and like storming out, leaving out of the garage, parking space, whatever. I remember he left after having a screaming match. Okay, it wasn't that like crazy, but it was just like a, well, what the, probably not my best look, but there were moments where I was just so ticked off and triggered because, you know, this guy just would not get there with me and be vulnerable, and he was just such a toxic masculine guy. I remember him storming out and I kind of chased him to the parking garage. Wait, maybe I'm mixing up situations because I do feel like he came back during that time, but there was another time where he did not come back, and I remember I was bawling my eyes out. It was so dramatic. And don't even get me started on how we broke up. Okay, I don't think I fully gave you guys that story ever because I was like protecting whatever. I don't give two flying ducks anymore. In that relationship a while back in 2020, we were just on the rocks. He was leaving on this like family trip or family friends on a trip, whatever. He completely ghosts me, doesn't respond to me, doesn't call me, doesn't pick up my calls, doesn't update me, nothing for like a good week, I'd say. And I was like panicking because at first you're like kind of mad, but then you're like, wait, did something actually happen? You know, we talked 24/7, so it was like odd. After a year and a half, just sudden silence, you know? This guy completely just ghosts me for a whole week, and then he comes back and he used the whole like, my phone broke, like I had to go to the store and get it fixed, blah blah, all this BS, right? You know, the red flag here was that he had an Android. I don't know if it was like the same week, probably a couple days after we broke up. He broke up with me. So we ended up meeting for the last time to just like, I gave his shit back, you know? Did I even? Probably not. I actually threw all the shit he got me because he was like, no, like we shouldn't do that. Just keep, because he wanted to keep all the shit. I got him because I spoiled him. I thought that I could buy love. TMI. So we break up, whatever, I'm so sad, okay? And then I think I did some digging around like a couple months later. I found out that he got into a relationship soon after we broke up. I don't know if it was like a month. This person that he was dating now is a friend of his sister's, and his sister was like a party girl, to my understanding from what he shared with me. He ended up dating that friend of hers, like her best friend or whatever. I don't know, best friend, a friend of hers. I found her account and I put 2 and 2 together, and I was like, oh, they're like family friends, this and that. He would never bring me around his family, but then this girl was around his family a lot. So I was like, checks out. You went on this like family vacation with your family and your family friends. It was very well known that like her friends would always come around. Oh, so for a week your phone broke, and then suddenly you come back and you're like, we have to end this. And I'm like, oh, so you... Okay. He ended up deleting me off of like Snap and all these things. I was like devastated, whatever. This boy like ended up reaching out to me a couple months later. He tried to re-add me back and all this BS. I got a good kick out of it. I would never, ever date a guy like him again. Ew. He had a forehead, okay? He was balding, whatever. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but there's no way to confirm it, but girl logic, it makes sense, you know? Wait. Is this my luck? Because the most recent ex. I'm not gonna spill the details. Let's just say that the girl he ended up dating a couple months after we broke up, whatever. There's tea there too. Learned about me, found me, reached out to me through Patreon, like had to pay a subscription, you know? I think she might still be on my subscription. Got in contact. I felt horribly bad for her. Exchanged numbers. Oh girl, she spilled information. I'm kind of pissed, honestly. This happened the weekend, the day of my sister's gender reveal, and I was planning that whole party. I'm sure you could imagine how that would feel. The whiplash was so hard, okay? Girl, I was in a whirlpool. Regardless, we were gonna hop on a phone call to like honestly, this was odd because this person in the end kept making it seem like I'm here to provide you information, but I'm like, didn't you read? Why do I need that? I don't need to know any of this. I'm honestly not involved in any of this. So I was like, I thought I was helping you. Messy. I was like, what? Okay. We were about to hop on a phone call. I called my best friends. I SOS them. This is urgent. My best friends were like, stop it. You do not need to be a part of this. This has nothing to do with you. I don't know why they're railing you in. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, what the fuck? I think out of my own curiosity, I was like, that's not the person I was with. I don't know what happened there, but honestly, that person was always that person. They just wore a mask for me. One day when you learn what I've learned, oh, the power I sit on. In the end, I was like, you know what? This doesn't serve me. And I truly felt so bad. I felt so bad for them. Just felt so sorry for them. But it had nothing to do with me. Like, I had no part in this. I was like, there is a God. I was saved from this shit show. Really, truly. Of course, I told everyone in my circle. The loyalty I had even during a breakup. I was like, who the fuck am I trying to protect at this point, you know? Regardless, I told all my people, and I'm telling you, the jaws collected on the floor could have built a monument. Crazy. These people just do such a great job convincing you that they're like this version of them that they're not. The things I would have settled for. Holy moly. I'm with my man now, and I truly know what it's like to be with someone who says what they mean and mean what they say. That saying is the foundation of what my relationship stands on. Like, I actually know what it feels like to be with an actionable man, someone who's intentional and made things very clear. A man, girl, a man, okay? Sometimes it's not until you are with the best that you realize, oh wow, everything else was scum. And I say it again. Okay, moving on. I love girl boss culture. Too much girl boss culture has made overworking and self-neglection feel like an achievement. To the point where if you are taking care of yourself, it feels like a guilt trip, you know? I think it's so badass, but there's a line. Speaking of being focused on your career, why is that the only socially accepted excuse if you are single in your 30s? You know, did that make sense? I feel like people only give you grace if that's your reason for being single in your 30s. It's none of your business. You don't know what they're going through. Okay, what about this? Some people are mean to others because being kind to them would require acknowledging something in them that they're not ready to face. I have had experiences where I found myself being passive aggressive towards someone because I felt insecure about that topic. Girl, whatever, we're being unfiltered here, and I honestly think it's just like the human experience. I think a lot of people feel like the best version of themselves when they make others feel small, and that's an insecurity, baby. I don't know why I'm airing all this out. It really is just growth and healing and therapy. I don't like some of the girls in my community. I've just had such horrible toxic experiences, backstabbing, this and that. Word comes back to you, to them, and you're just like, what? It is nasty. In my early 20s or late teens, even in my teenage years. For example, I have this story. Okay, another story. There is this person I went to high school with, but we were never close. Acquaintances, yes. This person, I feel like, is known to float around the popular people. They try to be a part of every single group. Years later, I started growing on YouTube. We were at KCON one year. One late night after KCON, we went to this place to eat out, okay? And drink. Tipsy, I'm new to the alcohol scene. I was having, you know, the best time of my life, thriving. After hours, suddenly someone comes behind me and she grabs my eyes. Not only is she pressing her freaking hands on my eyeballs, but she's like rubbing my freaking mascara, my makeup, my eyebrows all around. Her hands were imprinted in my skin, literally the hollows of my eyes, okay? That was one of my friends. And I was like, stop, let go. It was funny the first few seconds, and then like, okay, quit. Because then at this point, like, my head was being dragged down a bit. And this person's like literally the same height or a little shorter. Hello? Like, quit. I was annoyed. This person kept saying, say my name. It's me. Who am I? Guess who I am? It's me. I don't know. It's me. It's your cousin. It's your cousin. I'm from little old Michigan. I'm in LA right now. Who in the cousin is here? Like, what? Let go, quit. I don't like this. They finally released me, okay? Thank God. Turn around, and I was shocked to see this girl from high school. Years, I've just not seen this girl for so long, and I was like, Karen? The way she made it seem like we were cousins and tight and close and besties. I think I've exchanged 2 lines to you in my whole high school experience. It did not warrant you smearing my eyebrows like that. Again, I don't know how I got here, but isn't that a funny story? Okay, I gotta wrap this up. I don't even know what this video is anymore. I really don't. I guess the last thing I want to share, and I'm sure this is like gonna be it's just gonna move you. I feel like you're waiting for a version of you who feels ready, worthy, and certain before you start living the life you want. But guess what? That version is never coming because she only exists on the other side where she does it afraid. And that's on therapy. Okay, that's on years of therapy. Sorry to end it like this. I'm like, this is awkward. But anyway, okay, my hair is greasy. I should probably go. This was kind of fun, and it felt really nice getting all this off my chest. I know it felt unnecessary, but like, we should do this more often. I'll see you again soon. Yeah? Okay.
Tell me what you do on a Sunday